G'day and welcome to another episode of Kiwi Car Life. And for the last few weeks I've been driving this Honda Accord Euro that we traded in at work, and I think it's fantastic. So today I wanted to tell you all about the second generation Accord Euro. The second generation Accord Euro was launched in 2008 and finished production in 2014, and in New Zealand it was available with only a K24 under the bonnet and as a sedan or a tourer. And to the enthusiast it is known as the CU2 for the sedan or the CW2 for the tourer. Now in other markets you could get a few different engines under the bonnet here. You could also get the CU1 and the CW1, which is the sedan and the tourer, with the R20 or the 2-litre engine, or you could also get the CU3 and CW3, which was the sedan and tourer with the 2.2-litre turbo diesel, or you could also get the CU4, which was the TSX only V6, which you'll only find in the US. In terms of specification, the New Zealand new cars came in 3 different flavours: the S, which was available as a sedan only, and the L and the N, which you could get as a sedan and as a tourer. The S was the entry-level car, just like this. It had cloth interior, and if you moved up to the L, then you gained heated electric leather memory seats, along with a few extra features like front and rear parking sensors, automatic lights and wipers, xenon headlights and fog lights. And finally, if you moved up to the N, the very simple, reliable and easy to use LCD display up here for all of your media and climate control needs gets replaced with an absolutely awful and terribly unreliable navigation system, which today is almost completely useless. So that's all the different models that were available from 2008 to 2010. And after that point they facelifted the car, giving the car some slightly different looking bumpers and changing the design of the headlights, removing the orange from the indicators and giving the taillights a slightly more pinky tinge. The other interesting aspect is that the L and the N versions came with a 5-speed automatic only, and the S was available with an automatic just like this, but you could also, in very rare occasions, get it with a delightful 6-speed manual. And I had the pleasure of filming with one of them about a year ago, which you can see by clicking up here. The other cool thing about these cars is that aside from being very handsome right from the off, you could also make them look even better with a series of Modulo and Mugen accessories, the most common of which being the Modulo Sports Kit. It gave the car some new bumpers, front and rear, side skirts and an optional boot spoiler as well, and the odd one that you see on the road looks absolutely fantastic. One of the best parts about these Accords though is the interior. While the navigation system certainly didn't live up anywhere close to anything that BMW, Audi or Mercedes were putting out around the same time, the rest of the build quality of this interior certainly did. The steering wheel just feels incredibly solid in your hand, and all of the climate control buttons down here, just the way everything feels, just has this beautiful, solid, clicky feel to it. Everything just feels phenomenally well screwed together on the inside of this car. And it's well equipped too. You've got cruise control as standard, paddle shifters, you've got dual zone climate control, USB and auxiliary inputs, making it just a beautiful and nice and well built place to sit on the inside of, with all of the features that you need and nothing pointless and gimmicky. But what I love most about the CU2 Accord Euro is the way they drive. I've had the pleasure of owning a 2008 Accord Euro L myself, along with driving probably 5 or 6 ones that get traded in at work. Every time we get one traded, I always immediately snap it up and drive it for a few days until we put it on the used car yard. So I've driven a lot of them, and they are just so dang good to drive. And the engine is a lovely unit. Stays in VTEC perfectly after every gear change. The transmission performance is excellent, it's very smooth. Other parts about this car that are just really nice is the gauges. They show all the information that you need in a very clear and easy to read manner, but it also looks fantastic. It looks like a really expensive series of watches. And the final part about it that's just fantastic is when you get it out on the open road, that is where this car is at its best. I've had this thing down to like the low 6 litre per 100 k's on the open road, so it can be a genuinely very efficient car if you want it to be. It has some of the most comfortable Honda seats I've ever sat in. It's really quiet and refined. It's got a great sounding stereo system, and yet it can still really hustled down a back road, and I even took my one on a track day and was able to keep up with Mini Cooper S's and Golf GTIs and all sorts of things on the track which you really would not expect. If I was looking for an automatic car, this does pretty much everything that I want. And I'm going to come out and say it, I reckon the CU2 is better than the V6 from the same era, the CP3. I drove a Mugen one fairly recently, top spec, and yet if you get into a Accord URL, the transmission performance is much better, much smoother, and much more snappy to change gear. It's got a much nicer interior on the inside of here. Everything just feels a lot better built. It's got a nice 3-spoke steering wheel rather than an ugly 4-spoke one that looks like it's out of an Odyssey. I think these look better. They have more features even in the upper spec models, even though it's supposed to be the lesser Accord over the V6 one. And while they don't make as much power and torque, at least you can actually hear the engine sing a lovely note, whereas in the V6 ones they hardly make any noise at all. I think the CU2 is one of the nicest Hondas they have ever made, and it's the perfect addition to my Accord, where if I want to go out with my mates and have a bit of fun, I can drive my Accord, but then when I just want to drive to work, I can jump in this, and it is just so relaxing and quiet and comfortable, which is just glorious. So there we go, that's an overview of the second generation Accord Euro and why I love them so much. And if you want to see me comparing a CL9 with a CU2 manual, then click over here. And if you want to see me reviewing the CW2, the Tourer version of this car, then click over here. And I'll look forward to seeing you again next time.